Good morning, everyone. Wake up, welcome to the Wake Up Everybody virtual community. Come on in, today is going to be a super exciting day. I know some of you might have thought that we were going to be on with Coach Cheryl, but boo, we got a special surprise this morning, yo. Me and Coach Shawnee in the house.
Yes, I'm up in here. So our beloved Coach Cheryl is not feeling well today. No worries. It's more allergy related stuff. So she reached out yesterday and asked if I would be willing to facilitate or co-facilitate and co-create. And absolutely. And then the conversation is about crystals and spiritual energy and gifts and tools. And that's my jam. And I'm a big fan of Brother Brandon. So facilitating with him is an absolute gift. So I know it says Crystal Clear Part 2. I was not part of the facilitation, and I don't remember if I was actually in the space for Part 1. However, I can rock in here because I trust spirit, and I trust my intuition, and I trust my knowledge about these pieces, these tools that help us to navigate life beyond what we know, beyond what we've been taught. Connecting to the beyond so that we can grow and transform and be covered fully. So I'm ready to rock, Brandon. What about you?
Oh, definitely. Literally and figuratively. Ready to rock.
Right. Listen, you're too quick for me.
You're so corny.
Corny, but
I love it.
It was
Right.
good corny.
Yes.
Good corny.
Yes.
I see we got some folks coming in the community. Adam's here, Gina's here, Anika's here.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing this morning?
Doing great, doing great. I see the Kia's in the space. Whoop, whoop.
Hey,
Good morning.
Abembola's coming in. Joy. Whoop, whoop.
Hey, sissy.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Morning. So go on and just remind everyone we're getting ready to get started. They don't want to miss this session. It's going to be fire. Fire.
More fire.
More fire.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hey.
More fire.
Peace and blessing.
Why are we starting so early?
Already, yes.
Yeah, we ready. Y'all better get it together, admin. Join us.
No, I said, why are we starting like this so early? Talking about more fire.
Yes. I'm fire for this day.
Yes.
So for those who've just joined us, Brandon and I are co-creating the session. It was Coach Cheryl and Brandon that were initially scheduled to co-create, and we had to shift some things because Coach Cheryl wasn't feeling well. She's catching the fire of allergies and high pollen counts. And so I'm here to assist, support, learn, grow, transform, ascend with all of you. Please do invite folks. Please do invite folks. Do not be stingy. This is a powerful conversation that we all would benefit from being in. So nudge your friends, tell them to come on in so that we can share with them and pour into them.
Yes, absolutely. And this the main topic, even though you see crystal clear, our main point is about transformation this morning. What are your tools for transformation? Being crystal clear. So this is definitely going to be an exciting conversation. So go ahead, send that last text message. Yo, get on. Let's go. Let's have it. More fire.
Amen.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing, we're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning, we're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Good morning again, everyone. Good morning, family. For me, it's so exciting to be here. I get to be with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world today, talking about transformation. Y'all know it, but let me just give you just a real quick, honest, clear moment with Brandon. I'm jealous of some of y'all because you've been experiencing the dopeness of Coach Shawnee for a long, long time, a little longer than I have. So I got to catch up. And so this morning, we're going to have a wonderful discussion just about transformation. And this is actually a part 2 of a conversation I started back in March. Coach Cheryl, she's just dealing with a little bit of allergies. So her and we're going to come back on another segment to talk about this as this like be a part 2A and B or something like that. Admins to get that little inside joke. So I just want to give you a quick recap in terms of what we talked about in part 1 was we used crystal clear. Part 1 was crystals as a tool of self-reflection. And so when we looked at the crystals, we saw that crystals have different facets, and within those facets that represent the different parts of ourself. So today, still saying in a similar vein, is we want to talk about crystals, how they're not a tool of self-reflection, but they can be used as a tool of transformation to help us to transform all the different facets of our lives. So that could be physical transformation, that could be mental transformation, that could be emotional transformation, it could be financial transformation. It could be transformation, whether it's on an individual level, on a large scale level, community, nationwide level. So we're just talking about all the different facets. And just a really simple explanation as to how they work or why they work is crystals are essentially living beings with consciousness. So just like how we have nature, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the crystals belong to the mineral kingdom. And not to get too deep into it, but crystals grow throughout time. And so anything that's growing, it's moving, it's a living organism. When you clairvoyantly observe crystals, you'll see almost like little sparks or explosions of light. And that's actually the consciousness within crystals. And so when you look at crystals, you can actually, I guess, orient yourself in a way to say that crystals are really seeds that have been planted into the earth for humanity to use. So that's, if we can go back to that slide.
So while Chantel pulls up this slide, Brandon, I just want to share that this insight that you offered up about living things. I was watching a series yesterday. I'm a heavy sci-fi person, and the person, they were doing like a commentary on what's alive, what's considered alive. And everything has the particles of aliveness on this planet, everything in this cycle. So of course, crystals would be a part of it. And alive in our orientation to it is different than alive in the realm of things and places on the planet. And so our perspective and perception can impact our ability to fully tap in, because we have been taught to believe that a rock, a crystal, a tree aren't alive like we're alive. And therefore, our orientation is separate from it, and we miss out. So I love what you're offering up. We continue to grow. Of course, they grow. The energy we generate, can be like dormant, or it can be amplified, and so can crystals. And when we connect with them, we can bring our aliveness to a higher level and a higher plane, and their aliveness to a higher level and higher plane. So thank you for the share. And you said you wanted the slide back up?
Yeah, yep. And actually, and one of the other things I appreciate about crystals is that you don't really appreciate the beauty of them and the power of them until you do that deep digging. And that's also, reflected in us in our lives, is that we really will discover our true power when we're able to learn how to dig deep within ourselves, which is what we'll talk about a bit today. So let me share this thought with you. Because I remember on our last session, I talked about creating a metaphysical maternity, and we were talking about crystals. And there was some conversations about, I don't need those things. I don't need those. These things can't do that for me. All I got to do is pray. I've heard those arguments. I'm a church kid. Trust me. At one point, I had the argument myself. Let me say this: that crystals, they don't have any willpower of their own, and so they're essentially designed to amplify whatever the intention that is placed within them. So what I'm really trying to say is that crystals don't transform you. The transformation is really up to you. We could take this slide down. Coach Shawnee, I wanted to ask some questions. I was thinking this over the last couple of days in preparation. You've heard that saying where they'll say, it took such a thing to happen in order for me to wake up. I wonder, is it the events that happen to us that cause us to transform, or is it the events that happen to us that cause us to wake up to want to transform?
Yeah, I would actually say it's a combination of both things, just thinking about my own journey. I've been through some things that didn't wake me up, like they were like really critical things. And then something else happened later on, and that was the spark that activated for me to go back and fetch what happened in the other instance and combine that energy and then grow and ascend from that, and just discover something about my leadership, discover that something that I needed to let go. I think it depends on the person. Like you said about the crystals, it's not the event can definitely create the ingredients and the fodder for transformation, but we have to choose and synergize with the event and, activate what's internally within us, so that it can make a difference for us and we can move forward or move back. And like I said, fetch and then move forward with that. So that's my thought about it. But as you were contemplating, what did you land on?
I landed on the thought that it's not the event itself that causes us to transform. I think for me, there's this desire or this decision that we have to make internally to say, I want to do this. So just even like when I was looking at the crystals and things, prime example, rose quartz is a stone that's supposed to amplify love, or to help you to be more loving, to connect with the heart chakra and all of that. But if consciously I haven't made the decision in my mind that I want to be a more loving person, or consciously I haven't made this decision in my mind that I want to practice on forgiveness, I'm just going to expect that, this piece, in this case, when I'm using this approach, it does just become a rock. I'm expecting this rock to do something for me that I don't want to do for myself. And so I think when it comes down to using tools as transformation, I think that there's no one particular way, or there's no cookie cutter way. It comes down to the individual's experience. I mean, not the experience, the individual's decision to say, you know what, I want to make this change, or I want to do, or at least do something that's going to give me a different result.
I can definitely relate to that. It is a matter of choosing. I always make this reference, like you can have a family of 10 and they experience the same trauma, and then all 10 of them will react to the trauma in different ways, one of which is do nothing, like go into a space of, I'm going to put my head in the sand, that didn't happen, not dealing, just going to keep moving forward and operate like with blinders. And then someone on the far end, can totally transform from it. It's like, now this is the time for me to live because this trauma happened. So it is a matter of choosing. The events themselves aren't necessarily, they can activate, but it is a matter of us choosing as living, thinking, sentient beings to take it and utilize it as a tool to move us forward. So thank you for this exploration. I'm curious about what others have to say about it, because they may not agree with us. There might be different takes in the space that we haven't considered, or we have considered, but we haven't necessarily gone as far as folks in the space have gone around this. So if you're cool, because I know you have some other things you want to present.
Yeah, no, yeah, let's hear some voices to see what other folks are thinking.
All right. So I don't see anything in the chat, but I know how this community gets down, and I'm big on telling people.
Oh,
to
yeah.
speak. So let's see who's out there. Althea, I missed hearing your voice, beloved. So if you're down to share and weigh in on whether the incident is the thing that is the catalyst, or is it us choosing, please do unmute yourself. And then Atorius, Renee, I'm picking on you because not selecting you because we both have the same name. My middle name is Renee. So rebirth ourselves all the time. That's what we do. So I see a hand up too. So what do you see, admin?
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, Atorius.
Oh,
this is Althea. Okay, Atorius is next. Yeah.
I think the situation is just it's like the fire, but we are the catalyst and we choose how we want to proceed with the situations. We can ignite it or we can resolve it.
So Brandon, you got an amen on your. All right, thank you. Atorius, you ready?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I like this conversation in particular because there have definitely been some crystals that have like come into my life and shook some shit up. But I feel like this is one of those things where yes, the event happens, but like Brandon said, it really truly depends on how all the people are interpreting the event. And I feel like the decision to transform is like the beginning of that process. I don't think transformation happens before then.
Thank you so much, Atorius. Brandon, what do you want to say?
I was just going to say thank you. That's two for me.
We battling.
But no. We got 2-1. I see Z had put in the chat. It's a combination.
And it's all, it's all relative.
Yeah.
I love that we're even in the conversation because that demonstrates the level of consciousness in this space. I love the Wake Up Everybody community because they are committed to just that, waking up, utilizing the events that happen in this space, the conversations that get generated, and taking them and applying them to their day-to-day lives. It's a really beautiful thing. So
we have a hand raised.
Oh, another hand. Yeah.
Miss J. Can you come off mute, Miss J?
Good morning. Coach Shawnee just know when to get me in the space. She definitely does. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Brandon. So I definitely agree. Mindset is everything, and the intention that you set ahead of time is everything, and it can be the catalyst for the manifestation of what you want to happen. And as far as crystals are concerned, Coach Shawnee and the Pt.2 space is one of the reasons why I have the crystals that I have, because I created a sacred space. And after talking to Brandon, I've learned so much more about crystals, and not just what their uses are, but you actually have to not just charge and cleanse them, but you have to program them and set what the main intention for them is, whether you're buying bracelets or whether you're getting raw stones or whether you're getting a polished stone or whatever. You have to program them to do what they're called to do, because they are alive. They most definitely are living things. And yeah, I'm here for all of this. So good morning, and I'll be back on.
She jumping forward into the slides. She's like, let's get this party started.
I'm excited. I'm excited. You know, I love this kind of stuff, Brandon.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. And then we also have Rachel. Hey, Rachel, good morning.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So this is something I'm kind of not familiar with, right? So what I do know as of for me personally, accepting anything just from anybody, you have to be mindful of what you accept from people, especially energy, right? So I would just say, even though I don't know much about stones, I do know that just don't accept anything somebody laying their hands on you, giving you a gem, giving you even prayer, right? All of those things matter. Who's touching you and who's pouring into you, make sure their intentions are right. So that's all I wanted to say, and I'm complete.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
you actually are leading me right into the next slide. That is very important about the cleansing of the, actually, let's go to the slide after this. Because when we're talking about crystals, because I want us to think on, I want to invite you rather to think on multiple levels. So on one level of truth, we're talking about crystals in terms of the gemstone. But then on another level of truth, we're talking about our lives as a crystal. On another level of truth, we're talking about transformation as a crystal. So I want you to think on different levels this morning. Why is clearing, cleansing, and charging your crystals important? This is also about why is clearing your energy important? Why is clearing, whether it's your personal aura, whether it's the energy around your home, why all these things are important is essentially because crystals carry energy. And just like Rachel was saying, when people touch them, that energy transforms or transfers. I'm very particular about who touches my hair because energy travels. And there was a time I got my hair done, had a headache for like a week and I couldn't figure it out. And then once I finally, it dawned on me, like, this was someone different who did your hair, went back and checked it out and like, okay. So clearing the energy is very important because crystals, people, places, events, they all carry energy. And so with just talking about crystals just for right now, think about it, whenever someone touches a crystal, their energy rubs off onto the crystal. So let's say if I'm a miner, I'm out in the caves, is hot as ever. I mean, hot as the day is long. Me and my partner just got into an argument this morning because yesterday I didn't find enough crystals, and so my paycheck was smaller than usual. I'm frustrated, right? Then the boss comes in and says, hey, listen, if we don't excavate certain amount of crystals to produce a certain amount, we're gonna have to start firing people. Now I'm anxious, right? Are you picking up the energies that the miner is just going through? Now the miner goes into the cave or the mine, he picks up the crystals. That same energy that he's been dealing with for the day, that now gets what we call psychic imprints or psychic programming into the crystal. So now this miner is going to send it off to someone who's going to do the cleaning and cutting and all that. Maybe they were having a bad day. So now that energy gets put onto the crystal. Then it goes off to somewhere to be distributed. And then we're not even going to talk about the the mailman that goes through that whole traveling process. So from the time the crystal goes from the ground to your house, it's going through a number of different hands. And so whenever you get a crystal, it's always important that you clean it because you want to be able to clean that energy off of the crystal. Crystals are amplifiers. So whatever energy comes with the crystal is going to be amplified. Ms. J. Divine, if I could talk about that, if you don't mind.
Yes, you could tell them. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed.
Okay. So Ms. J. Divine, she made me a piece. It was a palm stone with selenite wrapped in copper. It had an Adinkra symbol in the copper.
And
Then-
Labradorite.
And yes, and Labradorite pieces. I mean, it's a beautiful piece. I'm very sensitive to energy. So I picked up the piece, got in the house, and my hand started hurting. I was like, okay, let me just put it out here in my living room. And I'm reading the energy on the crystal. And I just had to ask, I was like, what was anything emotional going on when you were traveling from your home to here to deliver the crystal? Because it was just a heaviness or energy on it. And so for a few days, I just let it sit out in the living room. I think around that time, it may have been like a full moon or something, it's possible. But then I was doing my cleansing with sage and incense. We'll talk about different tools that you could use to clear your crystals. But if I would have, and then she said, you know what? There was some stuff going on when I was driving down that I was thinking about. And so even though she wasn't holding the crystal, just being in proximity, it picked up that energy. And so if you're not aware, you can bring that energy into your space. One of the words that she used was your sacred space. So imagine bringing in a lower vibrational energy into a place that's sacred. Now you've got to go in and clean not only your entire space, but then rectify and restore your sacred space, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Can I further elaborate on that?
Yes.
So I made this piece to thank Brandon for, doing something for me. And I made sure that I charged it and I cleansed it. And I did all of the things, and it was in the moonlight, the sunlight, everything that's in his charts. And I was driving down all happy-go-lucky, and I got a phone call that just was very low vibrational. And here is this very powerful selenite that amplifies energy. It is wrapped in copper, which is the conductor of energy, and it also amplifies the amplified energy, plus the labradorite, which reaches your third chakra and your not your third chakra, your throat chakra and your third eye. So it's like all of the spiritual energies, and it's just attaching all of that to it. So I'm driving back to the Bronx, like, okay, everything is good. And he was like, who was around this crystal? Who was holding it? Like, did you have other people touching? I'm like, no. I cleansed it. He was like, yeah, I'm picking up some crazy vibes. And I was automatically embarrassed because I had an argument with my grandmother on the way down, and it picked up all of that energy, all of that hostility. And I'm just glad that he knows what he knows about crystals, that he was able to cleanse it. But imagine giving someone a gift and not realizing that your trauma is attaching itself to that gift. So yeah, it's powerful. These things are alive. They are alive.
Thank you very much. And I did see a question really quickly. I wanted to go back when you said to clarify how stones are living in regards to the sister that spoke before, Rachel. Yes, it does speak it is reference to the energy of the crystals. Like I was saying earlier, when you and Shawnee's actually going to talk about some of the intuitive gifts. When you're doing clairvoyant observation of a crystal, say for example, I have a rose quartz crystal. If you were to clairvoyantly look at this crystal on a deeper level, there are like little sparks of light, or sparks of like explosions of light. And what those explosions of light are actually sparks of consciousness. So just like how we are sparks of consciousness, within these gems, within these minerals are also sparks of consciousness. So that's why when we're working with them, we can give the instruction to absorb negative energy, or to project positive energy, or to provide a balancing energy, or love, whatever it is that we want to set the intention in that particular stone. It's able to do that because the stone does have a level of consciousness. But the stone will only do what we tell it to do. The stones is not going to compel you to do something that you should do. I just said something right there. Somebody should say amen. Stones will not compel you to do something that you should do. Stones are only going to empower you to do something that you want to do. So if I want to change or I want to be more loving, I can use these tools to help to amplify that. But if I don't want to do it, I could buy as much rose quartz as I want. I'll just have a lot of stones in my house.
Yeah, I wanted to interject here. This is something that I have experienced, sorry, for myself and also watch with other people. We can be so attached to an outcome, so obsessive around making something happen, removing something, that we can take the tools that we have and actually make them work in the opposite direction because there's so much intensity, force that we're bringing. There's synergy that can exist when we're unattached but committed to our spiritual growth and development, committed to utilizing the tool in the way that it was designed, committed to making sure that there is co-creation with the tools that we have, whether it's prayer, or the use of sage, or the crystals that you are speaking about, or the use of nature, because nature itself, like going to the beach, standing on the sands, looking out into the ocean, has been a tool that I've utilized to move things forward and release in my lifetime. And so just wanting the, I don't know who this is for, but it's like release force and attachment from your spiritual practice, ritual, your desires to manifest, because it can go in a direction that does not serve you. I remember when I was first starting out on, not on my spiritual journey, but utilizing more tools. And I was so attached to making an outcome happen. I drew a bath. I had all these crystals in my bath. I had essential oils. And I was eating the food I was eating. So I ate a bunch of nuts, and I got in the bath and I'm meditating and doing all of this stuff, playing music, and I vomited all over the space because my body and my spirit was overcharged. It was too much energy. My kids were like, is this the exorcist? Just the way I was operating, but I just did the most, too much. And it was not aligned, it was imbalanced. And so my body had a physical and visceral reaction to that intensity. So just want to put it out there. This is for someone specifically. You are going hard. You're going hard. And you would just benefit from calming down and looking at your what your looking at the intensity and then also the intentions. You can't make somebody do something. It's all by invitation. We choose. So you can't make someone love you or, stuff like that. So I just wanted to put that in the space, Brandon.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And even that example that you used about setting that sacred space and then doing so much, and then once you got in there, how your body responded, that is an effect of over energizing or having. So like I learned that lesson the hard way. I started learning about crystals, and I was like gung-ho excited. I went out every time I had the opportunity, I bought crystals. So it was like crystals everywhere in my bedroom. And one day I was sitting there and I just literally was just rocking back and forth. And I'm like, what is this? My chest felt like it was about to explode. So I called my teacher and I was like, yo, man, I'm not sure what's happening right now. He was like, bro, slow down on buying the crystals. Like these are major energy transformers and you're bringing a lot of energy into your space. And he's like, and he says, sometimes less is more. And what you said is so key, is that you don't have to force it, especially when you're working with spirit, because spirit knows what to do. And spirit knows the rate in which our physical bodies are able to work with spirit. So I think that, thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure. So you want to hear from anyone? You want to move forward with what you're presenting? How do you want to move, brother?
Let's hear a couple of some things that were going on in the chat. And then I want to real quickly talk about cleaning, and then I want to hear about these intuitive gifts.
All right, so let's see what we have here. So we were talking in the chat, they were talking about the transferring of energy that Ms. J brought up, and just how powerful that is, that we transfer that energy not only through the crystals, but in our everyday lives and how we have to be mindful of that. And so Jacqueline said, I'm finding that I find it difficult to receive from people who are coming from a low energy space, and that I may not be received when I am coming from a low vibrational space. We carry that energy with us and we transfer it to others in forms of energy. This is why I'm very particular about who or what touches me. Okay, and then Adam also said, what you eat and absorb determines your energy and attitude, and your attitude depends on your altitude. Right. And then, yes, that's pretty much it. I did have a question about the crystals. So like you, Brandon, I also went out and brought all these crystals. I found a really cool crystal shop that I, started to go to before COVID. And, I liked that there were cards in front of the crystals to tell you what they meant, what they were for, what chakra they were for, all of that stuff, because I was still learning it. But two of my questions: how do you know when they are authentic, even just spiritual tools in general, right? Like we're talking about sage and Palo Santo and crystals. How do we know that these are actually tools that are authentic and coming from a grounded space, that are carrying the properties that they're supposed to have? And then something I'm always curious about, the polished versus the raw. I have both, but I'm not sure the difference or the impact of those differences. So if you could share, that'd be great.
Well, one of the main things when buying crystals is where are these crystals sourced from? Where do they come from? So whenever you go to a crystal shop, you should be you can ask the persons who work there, where were these crystals mined from? If they can't give you that answer, then it's I'm not going to say it's a high probability, because that might be a bit of an assumption on my part that I shouldn't make, but it might be a good possibility that those crystals could be either synthetic, or maybe they bought them as a third party kind of process. So they may not know the genuineness of the crystal. Maybe it's about the process in which the crystals are mined. So if they're not mined sustainably and like a healthy and a loving kind of manner from the earth, that energy also goes into the crystal. So I think knowing the source is important first. Then there are certain stones, such as like moldavite, for example. It's a very expensive stone. I think it's like, maybe last time I checked, $75 a gram for moldavite. Very expensive. But there was a minute where people were going around selling fake moldavite, and they were basically just taking broken glass and kind of polishing it up, heat treating it or whatever, so that it looked as if it was moldavite. And I got one time, and ain't gonna never happen again.
Even
I promise.
crystals have knockoffs.
Yeah, because then there are some crystals that are naturally certain colors, and then there's some crystals that have been dyed. And so really having that information of where the crystals are sourced from is going to firstly help you about getting a better idea of the authenticity of the crystal. There are different tests that people use. It really gets pretty deep when you're talking about figuring out the authenticity or the genuineness of a crystal. Because even that fake moldavite that I bought, this guy had like a whole card attached to it, talking about it was certified in some lab, it was mined in such and such a place. So that's, the sourcing is one thing, but then intuitively, and I think Shawnee's going to also help us to talk about our spiritual gifts, is you can feel a vibration of the stone versus a vibration of glass. And so when you pick up the stone, or you feel the stone, something in that stone is going to communicate with you. And if you don't feel anything off of the stone, don't buy it. I think a lot of times we buy crystals just for the sake of buying them, but maybe not always waiting to make sure that we're buying the right stone at the right moment for us, where we are in our development.
Awesome. Thank you, Brennan. And then the raw and the polished. Do you have a particular favorite?
No, actually, I don't have a particular favorite. I have a combination of polished stones. I have a combination of raw stones. I have shapes. I have spheres. I have wands. I've got long pieces. I've got small pieces. I've got big pieces. I've got geodes. So they're, literally, for me, now this piece right here is my geode. This is like my charging station. So when I'll sit here and meditate with this, and I go up and come down. It's like I've got a year's worth of information. I can put my other crystals on this, and it cleanses them, it charges them. It's just a very, very powerful stone in terms of my then like my selenite is something else. So I have, like I said, a number of different I'm not one who says, I only want this particular type. I've got a number of different ones. And then even the shapes. So shapes have, they have like palm stones, you have the heart stones, you have diamonds, triangles, squares, merkabas, you've got and then if you start getting into pendulums, it's the shapes of the pendulums that gets in the different stones in this pendulum. So it gets really broad. For me, I think just following your intuition or following what it is that's guiding you or what's communicating to you about that particular stone. Awesome. But I will say this, in the world of palmistry, the thumb is actually a piece. Kim, is it the right thumb, left thumb? The left thumb. If you rub that on something, that's known as kind of like you're receiving information, or you're receiving. It's a receiving pad. And so just tuning into the consciousness or to the energy of it, and just slowly rubbing that thumb on the stone, you'll begin to feel some of the energy that's in there. That's also your receiving hand. So you'll be able to receive the energy that's in the stone, or that's in that particular, or whatever it is that you're working with. It could be a scarf, it could be a gift that someone gives you, and you want to know, all right, what's the energy on this? That's one of the ways in which you could do it. Just using that your thumb to kind of feel on it.
Awesome. This is a lot of juicy information. And I thought I was asking too many questions, but Onika said this is very helpful. She wasn't a believer in crystals before, and now she is feeling convicted because of the information that we have here today. So that's awesome. And I also wanted to share that I have a few crystals, and I've been trying this new thing where I'll just grab one randomly. And yesterday I grabbed the purple obsidian, and I had to have a tough conversation with someone. And then I read after when I got home just to see like, what was this crystal? What was it supposed to do? And it removes blockages from accessing your higher awareness, calms and soothes your mental body, and helps you embrace your intuition and inner guidance. And so that definitely allowed me to say what I needed to say, the way I needed to say it. And I reached in my pocket after, like, okay, maybe this was what helped me through. So I don't even know if it's a mind thing or if it's just doing what it's supposed to do, like we said. So just wanted to share that as well.
Let me just jump in and share that this is for those who have a specific practice around their religious and spiritual beliefs that doesn't necessarily align with what Brandon and I are imparting today. It's so important to see the bridges between what we're talking about and what you practice. Sometimes we don't make the correlation, and it's willful ignorance. And when I say ignorance, it doesn't mean anybody's stupid. It's just a lack of knowing. And sometimes it's willful. We don't want to know because this is foreign to us. This is not what I've been taught and conditioned to believe. And so I invite you to open up your spiritual eye. We're talking about some stuff, you may be processing it intellectually, but sometimes we bring resistance to conversations because we've been taught that something is against the grain. And even words like demonic, like we'll make that up about a particular thing. At your place of worship, if you don't have a formal place of worship, whatever it is that you practice, think about the parallel to a crystal that is used as an instrument, a sacred tool to carry you from one space to another as it relates to going deep, connecting with your the deity, the god, the goddess, the higher being that you're connecting to, even nature. And whatever that parallel piece is, you can drop in crystals as being like one of those conduits so that you're not getting caught up in it's like, oh, the semantics of it. Everything on this earth has been divinely created. This is my belief. All of us are part of the cycle, and everything is connected and interconnected. And so to reject the lion because it's predatory is sort of a rejection of ourselves. It has its place. If the lion didn't do its job, we might have an overpopulation of other types of animals because the lion kills sufficiently and efficiently enough to make sure that there's no overpopulation. The bee may sting you, but it's doing other things in the world that are aligned with our continued development and evolution and balance for the universe and the world. So I just want to put that out there for those who are like resistant to what is happening. You don't have to believe what me and Brandon are saying, but even the energy of resistance can have you miss a message for yourself because you're just so closed off and it's like, it's this no matter what. So I just wanted to put that out there in reference to this whole conversation about intuition, spiritual gifts, tools, crystals, all of it. Like, just be open and see what is available to you.
Absolutely. And Shawnee, you know, most people don't think I was actually, let me see, we're in 2022 right now. If we were to go back to 2012, this version of me that you see in front of you was not the version that existed. You couldn't pay me to buy crystals. You know, you couldn't pay me to talk about numerology, astrology, energy medicine, palmistry, all that stuff. I would pray you down to the pits of hell for talking about metaphysics. But one day something just clicked for me, and it's just like, well, what's the damage? What's the hurt of just exploring and understanding and studying? Because gemstones have been used in the Bible all throughout the Old Testament, all throughout various religious or sacred faiths or faith experiences, various cultural experiences. They've been used for thousands of years. Our ancestors in Africa, these are the technologies that they use. And it was something about the colonialism, Eurocentric colonizers coming through, realizing the power that our ancestors had and say, no, hold up. These people can't have all this power. So let's use, and I can say this because I preach from that same Bible, let's use this Bible to convince them that what they're doing is wrong, even though what they're doing is in this book. I know that's I promise I ain't gonna go that. That's another session for another time.
Well, I actually believe it's totally on point, Brandon, because throughout the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, there are loads of references to crystals.
Yes.
And you know this better because you're the minister in this space, that you know the sacred, I don't know if it was a chest that they were carrying.
The Ark of the Covenant.
The Ark of the Covenant. You know, the crystals that were on there, like if you touched it and you weren't supposed to touch it, you could like literally die. It's all of this power, you know, and to be taught that it's demonic, to be taught that it's low vibrational, it's not part of the journey is really weird. Just like spiritual gifts, you know, and I guess, I don't know if you have some other stuff you want to say before we segue.
I think it's a great segue.
Yes. You know, I'm like, how do we have such an aversion? And I say we, it's those of us who have been on the journey of rejecting it. Some of us who fully embrace it. Some who have no idea whatsoever because you haven't been taught directly, but it's been indirectly taught. Like, yo, if we're made in the image and likeness, like just going from biblical doctrine, that means that we have some of the fertilizer and the gifts that have been put into the Bible. If we're Christ-like, that means, you know, Christ was engaging in laying on of hands, bringing people back from the dead. And I think that happens in different ways. There are folks who are on the brink, they go to the other side. And because of the spiritual gifts of doctors, even though they call it intellectual, they can lay on of hands, they can take certain action, and then the person will come on back. You know, thinking about dreams and prophesying, that energy is in the 41 people in this space. Different spiritual gifts. And if we would just align ourselves and share from that space, we can transform anything, especially those who identify as BIPOC in this space. Like, we can really take our power back if we would just tap in and not just operate from headspace. So it's really weird. So what I'm going to do moving forward is I'm going to show you two individuals, different cultures, different genders, but aligned with this spiritual power. So Chantel, if you could show the first slide, that would be great. And please drop in the chat any of your thoughts. You know, Brandon and I are all for co-creating this conversation and You telling us we're wrong. Like, we're not here to be like, you better believe this, like, shoot. Like he said earlier, and the same for me. There were times when I was like, what's that? That's scary. Like, I'm not doing that. That's wrong. Crystals, like, that's some hocus pocus bullshit. And now they're all around my house and I carry them with me. And it's just been an amazing journey. So when we're talking about unlocking your spiritual gifts so that you can use a tool or tools like the crystals that Brandon was speaking about, we have such powerful potential and such opportunity for us purposing the gifts that we've been innately possessed with, given before we even get here. And some of us have more muscle around it than others, just like artistic gifts. There's some people who can paint and they have limited dimensions to their painting. And there's some people who can paint stuff and you like can't tell whether it's a photograph or it's an actual oil painting. It's amazing, just the levels. And the same thing for spiritual gifts. We all have different levels. And some of us, if we would just lift the weights, use the spiritual tools, our muscles would expand in reference to this. Over time, I've discovered some gifts I already knew from the time I was small. My sister is in here, and I'll point to a story that happened to her, myself, and my aunt. We sleeping all in the same bed, something that happened many years ago. I don't know if she remembers, but I've known that I've had gifts since I was little, but they went dormant when I started to be indoctrinated with the mindset of others. When I was experienced trauma, they went into a dark space, and then they got reactivated again when I was ready to engage them. And there are other gifts that I have that are still being mined. Like, I declare that before I die, I'm going to channel and do mediumship, engage in mediumship, because I have the ability and it comes in spurts. But I'm like, I'm going to be able to call on it and utilize it for the edification of others before I leave this earth. So Einstein, just this white man looking kooky and crazy, this is one of his statements, right? And he unlocked the mind, and it was also a spiritual gift. So the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. This is what he said. And the rational mind is a faithful servant. So I love that he put the sacred gift of intuition first, right? And he spoke of them like two parts of the mind, but that work synergistically together. We've created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. So my mind is a great mind. I'm an intellectual, but I must tell you, if I didn't combine my mental capacity, my academic ability, and just how my cognitive skills are with my emotional intelligence and my spiritual intelligence, who you see as a leader would not be the same. It would not. It'd be cool, but how I synergize all three of those things takes what I have to say and what I do and what I create to a whole other level. So Einstein, that brilliance, that genius, I say we all have genius in us, but it's not activated because we operate like 1 + 1 = 2 is enough, or what we read in the books or the stuff that we studied in school is enough. But we're totally, some of us, not everybody, missing the mark on our emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence as activators and as fertilizer for more genius, amplified experience as a human being, and an opportunity to recognize that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So Brandon, I see you like double dutching. Go and jump in.
Yeah, Shawnee, you over here preaching this morning. You know what I thought about as you shared that the different parts of our mind, and we look at this nation that we live in, and how this nation on its constitution considers people of color three-fifths of a human being. Could it be that they knew that if we take away this spiritual part and we try to take away this intuitive part, maybe is 3/5 of a person could be, is that we've taken away that spiritual aspect, and we've taken away that ability to be relate intuitively.
Ashe. I think actually what kept us alive was the fact that there was some of that energy and fertilizer around the spiritual navigation. And if you could put, and also what you said, Brandon, that we're cut off. There was so much trauma, so much devastation, so much indoctrination that you're not human, that you're not worth anything. Just like me, when I experienced my trauma, that it went dormant. And we're still trying to reactivate that. And our experience of internalized racial oppression and discrimination and just being viewed as less than human has kept us from being able to elevate to the station that we are divinely ordained to elevate to. And before I go on, or we go on in the conversation, because I'm sure folks have something to say about this, it's 7:55, we're 5 minutes from 8 o'clock. If you can stay, beloveds, please do stay. And I'm going to encourage you to also keep inviting people. We still have 35, 40 minutes left in this session, and there's lots that can be learned in the in-between time. If someone comes in from now until we end, they're going to be able to get something out of this. So what I was going to say is that, I know there are various people in this space. There are folks watching the playback that don't identify as BIPOC. But we all, because of that discrimination, because of that bondage that we've experienced as BIPOC folks, even white people have been denied their growth and development because they've denied us ours. It's all connected. It's all part of the cycle. And when we operate like we're separate, then we miss out on the opportunity to be able to, once again, activate the collective genius that we have. So anything you want to say, Brandon, before I move on? I'm just going to offer an activity to the community.
This is exciting for me. I want to see what's next.
Awesome. So family, those who are on Facebook, as well as those who are in the Zoom space, please select a number between 1 and 11. And while we do that, I want to mention Harriet. I don't want to skip over Harriet. She was on the slide too. I don't want to just focus on Einstein. 2 different worlds, 2 different levels of access because of gender and because of race, and because of station in life, right? But Harriet, as a result of trauma, blunt force trauma, right, at the hands of white slave owners or enslaved people, being subjected to their brutality, she took a blow to the head, right? And it led to what she was calling spells of dizziness, pain, and excessive sleepiness. But during that time that she would experience this dizziness, sleepiness, and go into the spells, she would get intuitive gifts that would guide her to guide others to freedom. That sometimes due to the trauma, based on our opening of the conversation, if you were here, it's like, what comes first, chicken or the egg? Does the trauma actually lead? Is it the event that leads to you activating it? Like what we talked about earlier. And like I said, it can be a mixed bag. So Harriet experienced the blow, and then it opened up a gateway for her to liberate her people, our people. And I say that's white folks included, because she was part of the catalyst for white folks to be delivered and liberated from themselves and the brutality on a different level, because it's still present. But boy, if we would have maintained chattel slavery and the enslavement of people, like where would we be? Like the literal structure of enslavement. So I just wanted to put that out there. I didn't want to miss Mama Harriet in the conversation. So we have our numbers up here, and I want to share with you, I did this session before for Wake Up in 2020. And in the beginning, when we were doing Wake Up, we would utilize the full song of Wake Up Everybody by Teddy Pendergrass. So now we're going to use it to guide and direct us in this conversation. So I would love for you to share your full name in the chat. And then also you already shared your number. And I want you to think about who you are and how you've called this message to you, because your intuition knows what's for you. So I'm going to post the lyrics, and whatever number you have that you intuitively selected is for you. You can resist it. Maybe it'll come to you later why you got this piece of the lyric, but we're going to use different parts of the song, the lyrics of Wake Up Everybody by Teddy Pendergrass, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, and you're going to tell me why you believe this message is for you this morning. And there's someone unmuted. Thank you, family. And thank you for the number. So I'm about to drop the lyrics in. You tell me why you believe you got this one. And Brandon, did you pick yours? You picked your number?
No, I had it in my head.
All right, drop it in the chat. And then you can be the first one to start. And then give me a number, Brandon. You select one for me because I have the benefit of seeing the layout of the numbers. So can you select the number for
I'm
me?
gonna take number 2. Number 6 for you.
Thank you. Awesome. So dropping this in. Uh-oh, wait a minute. The numbers didn't come up. So I'm going to share with this. I don't know why the system did this. So if you pick number 1, your message is wake up everybody, no more sleeping in bed, right? If you pick number 2, Brandon, you said you picked that?
Yeah.
No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. If you pick number 3, the world has changed so very much. So why do these messages relate to you? Number 4, from what it used to be. So, you know, that's a piece of it. It's a fragment, but it's your fragment. Number 5, there is so much hatred, war, and poverty. Oh my gosh. Oh, so this is a double. It's a mistake, but not a mistake. And then the second part to number 5 is wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. So there's 2 parts of that. And what comes up for me actually is the war in schools with the shootings and stuff like that. Number 6, wait a minute, who is this in this document? Because now I can't read the numbers. Number 6 is maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. I don't know who that is, number 6, but maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. Number 7, because they're the ones who's coming up and the world is in their hands. This is a reference to children. It might be your own children. It might be the work you do with children. It might be your resistance to listening to children. I don't know. Then the next 7, 8, 9, I believe it is. When you reach the children, teach them the very best you can. A lot of references to children, and to me, rightly so, because of everything that's happening these days around them. But I don't want to make up that that's what it means for you.
We're on number 8, Shawnee.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. You in there messing with the document.
No, ma'am. I'm copying and
that's all
pasting in Zoom for you.
All right. I'm like, okay, so 8, cause they're the ones who's coming up and the world is in their hands. Number 9, when you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. So number 10, can't do it alone. Number 10, can't do it alone. Number 11, stop lying. That's just straight talk. Lying to yourself, lying to others, lying by omission. 12, teach the truth. Teach the truth. So who is down? Who needs clarity around your number? Because some of this has shifted in the space, or they might drop it into the chat so it can be aligned, because I don't want you to be confused. So Brandon, you had number 2. What's up?
Yeah. Definitely. It resonates for me in a number of ways. No more backwards thinking. I have a saying sometimes that sometimes things can be ass backwards, like when it just don't make no sense. And it's interesting that the clarity of, the topic of our conversation is being crystal clear.
Yes.
So even in being clear with our thinking, it's about aligning our thinking so that we're in some kind of forward progress or some kind of progressive thought, and not living in the hopes and aspirations of yesterday, or even the disappointments of yesterday, because living the life in yesterday causes me to miss what's happening today. And then it also, it doesn't allow me to believe in the possibility of a tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah. You know, the other thing that comes up as I think about you, thinking about what they said, what they think, and you know who the theys are for yourself. And going back to claim whatever it is. I don't know if it's from childhood. It could be like anything from the past. It could be what somebody said yesterday, and having that thought or those thoughts rent space in your head, and have you staying in a space of stagnation, or a space of dependency, or a space of lethargy, or whatever it is. So I just wanted to put that out there. That came up for me as you were speaking too. And I got number 6, but
Yeah.
6, time to teach a new way. Lord. everything that's happening in my life right now, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of doors opening up. And it's going to require that I teach a new way, like specifically with the Rites of Passage program. I have to step back some to move forward. And so I'm very hands-on in those spaces. But in order for me to be able to step towards the new levels of abundance, I'm going to have to teach from the background and not the foreground in this instance, maybe guiding someone so that they can go in and teach when I'm not there. Yeah, so definitely time to teach a new way, and then be open to new materials coming in, because you can reach a plateau family in reference to what you know as a educator, a plateau based on what you know as a healer. Like, and it's time to take in new information, listen to new guides, and get new supports. Because Brandon, I'm sure that happened to you. Me too. I was in organized church, and then Spirit was like, it's time to move. And I was like, no, no, no. And I stayed for 3 more years before I left. And it was the most liberating thing that I could have ever done. And I started practicing using different tools, the crystals, different levels of meditation, my pendulum. But I was kicking and screaming before I embraced that it was time for me to learn and teach a new way. So I just wanted to put that out there. Sophia, I know you were up in here. I made up that you were out of town. Hey, girl. So who wants to share? And I know there's a lot of you in here, but what does Spirit intuitively give you so that you can learn and grow? What number did you get and why? So use your digital hands, please.
We got a lot of hands.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
More fire.
You know, we ain't got good sense. That's the other thing to transform, that spiritual teachers and healers don't laugh. They're not silly. I'm like, get the hell out of here. If I had to align with that belief, I would just jump off the cliff. I'm like, I am not trying to be super serious. I have to play. I'm crazy, y'all. If you ain't know it, I'm just letting you know.
Right.
Shawnee, you helped me in our first facilitators training when you said it ain't that deep.
It's not.
It ain't that deep.
Oh, God. All right. So what we got?
All right. So let's hear from Quasi. Quasi.
Yay.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, Quasi.
Thanks for this talk today. This is really good. What came in for me, I had number 11, Stop Lying. And I was like, dang, why y'all gotta hit me with that? But it came at the right time. And I think it's interesting. I find that, like, when people do the tarot card readings or they do the crystals, or you get like some information like this, sometimes it's like something you're doing in real time. Like, it's not always like something to do next week. It might even been something you was dealing with yesterday. That could be like a affirmation that you're on the right track or something like that. So, I had a situation in the last 7 days where I had to really step into some authenticity that I had been avoiding. So I feel affirmed to get to stop lying. I'm like, maybe there's some more work to do for sure, but I know that this week has definitely been about speaking my truth and being authentic. So to intuitively know that, and then to now get the reading in this way with the Teddy Pendergrass lyric and have it just be amplified in this way as well. I know that God communicates their message in a whole bunch of different formats. So I feel encouraged to, like, continue to stop lying, So
Yo, that's a hard one. I remember when I did the first session, there was so much resistance from the persons that got that. And I'm like, yo, we're all liars. We are all liars. And I know it's hard to take that in. Our levels of denial, leaving pieces out. Like, I have to spare this person. I can't tell them the truth. I can't say that I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. I was laughing the other day, Quaz, because many years ago, I was in a relationship with someone and we were living together and we had been together for 7 years. And I had exited the relationship energetically and emotionally 2 years before. And, but I just kept sticking and staying and pretending and being inauthentic. And I remember the person was on their way home and I don't know why we were having a conversation, all spirit. And they asked me directly if I was in love with them and wanted to be with them. And I was trying my best to lie, but I just couldn't do it. And I was like, no. And it was coming out my mouth, like, shut up. And then Yo, it was crazy because that night after I told him, he came home and packed his shit and left. He was like, if you don't love me and if you don't want to be with me, why am I here any more, another day, another hour? And I was like, that's so gangster. And there was a part of me that was like, stop it. Just tell him you were kidding. You were confused. You were upset and you just said the wrong thing. And spirit was like, enough is a damn enough. And I let it go. But sometimes me, I don't know about you, bro, I have to be kicked off the cliff in order for me to do the right thing. I have to be literally shoved from behind, can't see it coming in order for me to do the right thing. So thank you.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
So let's stop lying, boo. Let's stop lying.
Shout out
All
to
right.
that do-rag, Quasi. Yes.
That is
I love it.
All righty. Who else? I said hands are up, so let's hear from others. And
Mom,
you can jump in and coach, do whatever you want to do in this piece too. This is us creating together.
All right, Frie.
Greetings, everyone.
Hi.
Greetings.
So I got number 7 because they're the ones who's coming up and the world is in their hands. I work with youth that have had failed suicide attempts. I've had some of my kids, my babies, their fear, anxiety, not able to graduate, it's on the brink of stuff. And I'm just like, this is so good because one of the kids, she has a lot of work to do. And I'm like, your favorite food is a taco, right? She said, yeah. And I said, so when you get a taco, do you shove the whole taco in your mouth or do you bite it bit by bit? She says, I eat it bit by bit. And I said, that's the way you're going to tackle your work, bit by bit. You're not going to shove those 10 packets in your mouth at one time and try to complete it. Like, we're going to do this bit by bit. And I saw something go off in her head, which allowed her to see she has a great task to accomplish, but little by little, it will be done. And to do her best. So she has a great future ahead of herself, regardless of her mental health, regardless of her wanting to commit suicide. And I just gave her the opportunity to see things bit by bit. Don't look at the whole picture. Take it bit by bit. And I told her on Saturdays and Sundays, you're not doing any schoolwork. So that was like, oh, okay. Like, I have these futures in my hand, and just to allow them to see things little by little and not to overtask themselves.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, there's so much here. Like I said, because of everything that has been going on in the world and what the young people of this generation or these last couple of generations have had to contend with, the level of information that is coming at them is like literally overload. Like they short circuit because, you know, these, oh gosh, this is a whole session itself. Like this is a tool too, and it can short circuit your spiritual tools if you're too engaged in screen time and getting lost. And it can also activate because of what we have access to. I utilize it all the time. The internet, these devices, it could be a conduit for great growth and expansion. Like spirit shows me what I need to know and where I need to go in these in this space of using these devices. So lots to adjust, right? Just my message, teach a new way, because this is a different energy and mind space that we're in. So we can't just be attached to how we've always taught as literal educators, as parents, as elders. Like we have to be open to be flexible and take in information and impart information differently. But sis, I want to offer something up. I know the message seems like it is explicitly about what you see externally with these young people. But there's the way it's the phraseology of the statement also offers you an opportunity to look at yourself in the context of who you're teaching and what you're doing with them. What is something for you to explore regarding how you show up? And because they're the ones, what's the statement again? A free if you can read it again, because I want to make sure I'm crystal clear on what I'm offering.
It's number 7, and it says,
because
they're the ones who's coming up and the world is in their hands.
Right. So I think of that it's like a free like there's an action or a shift for you to make because they're the ones who are coming up and the world is in their hands. So because you have the power as an educator and you stand before them and they're looking to you as sponges to receive, there's a way in which you would benefit from shifting, transforming, adjusting, because they're the ones who are coming up and the world is in their hands. Do you get what I'm sharing?
Yeah, because with my son, I wouldn't have been like that. I'd have been like, if you don't get this work done, boy, this is the end of the year. What you talking about? But with these babies, it's like things are different. I'm like, no, there's too much for them to think about. And even taking myself back to that 11-year-old, and what is it that I needed to hear when I was stressing about getting things done or accomplishing things. So what I do is relax, listen more. And when I say listen, I'm not listening, well, I do listen to them, but I listen to what spirit is telling me to tell them, or which way spirit is guiding me to assist them. And if I don't hear anything, a lot of times I don't say anything to them and I ask them, what do you think you should do?
Got that.
So I don't know if that's what you were speaking of, like the correlation.
Brandon, you can jump in if you're led. I want to make sure that there's balance here. Is there anything to say? Okay, go ahead.
Actually, a lot of what you said to Free, and then even what Free just responded with, was a lot of what I was hearing. There's something about that. They're the ones who's coming up. What keeps coming up for me is I did the energy of a Free son had came into the conversation, and so what I'm sensing, it's almost like a really strong sense, is that as we learn how to give the children the world, or even to show the children that the world is in their hands, that we're able to also see that there's a part of us that has that same potential, and that it's not too late for us. Because when we say the world is in their hands, it's almost as if we've taken the world out of our hands also. So a free what I want to say to you is that there's also a lot more inside of you that's still to be developed and still to come forth. So just keep on growing, and you see sometimes like a reflection, or as you're dealing with those children, there's a part of you that you're also dealing with. So as you help the children to heal, as you help the future to heal, you're also healing yourself, and as well as the past. So what you're doing is like generational kind of healing.
I thank you, Brandon. And I will say the whole entire time you were talking, you were literally reading my heart, because I felt as you were speaking, my heart, it was like I felt the pulling on my heart. And I'm like, he's reading my heart. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but it definitely, like, I'm like, whoa, he's in my heart right now. I didn't even know that was, but you were definitely sitting in my heart.
Yeah, there's the 11-year-old you that's still waiting for some healing, more healing. And what you're doing externally is, it's almost like do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But what you're doing unto others is being done unto you.
Oh, that is so sweet and so beautiful. Like, thank you. That right there just brought tears to my eyes, because it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Wow. All right, bring it through.
Yeah.
Yo, go.
Thank you, beloved. I'm going to ask Chantel to put up some slides. We won't stay on here long, and I know that there are hands raised. I'm just conscious of the time. As y'all know, I could keep y'all in here for 3 hours. Brandon will be gone. We'll still be in here. So just thinking about intuition, and I would love for someone to read for us. So I see hands, several hands up. Oh, I almost feel guilty. Louise, if you could read, I know your hand is up for something else. Well, let's see where the conversation takes us. And then also drop stuff in the chat, family.
Actually, I'm driving,
Oh,
so
no.
I can't read.
All right.
Sorry.
It's okay, beloved. It is okay. So someone else, if you could, their hands raised. I don't know if Veronica can read for me. We're co-creating this. I can read for myself, but I just.
Quasi raised.
All right. Quasi. Okay, great.
Okay, good. Okay.
I'm reading from the left.
Yeah, read from the left, and then Veronica, you can read on the right.
Copy. What is intuition? The word intuition comes from the Latin word inture, to look inside, or to complete.
Contemplate.
It is a knowing that comes from
Wait. Just wanted to back it up. To contemplate.
Oh, to contemplate.
Yeah.
Or to contemplate.
Mm-hmm.
It is a knowing that comes from within, and it can be fine-tuned and strengthened. It can also be amplified by other spiritual gifts.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And Veronica, you ready?
Yes, I am. Intuition is non-sense. It does not totally rely on the senses. However, they can support the manifestation. It is not based on book smarts. However, you can read about it and study it. It is knowing that defines reason. However, current research shows that it exists. It is a feminine vibration and energy. However, all genders possess it.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. So Brandon, anything you want to say about this before we move forward?
I think for me, the intuition is life's map. Or life's GPS system, our inner GPS system. I agree with everything that's been said here.
Awesome. Let's move on to the next slide. So just asking Quasi if you could read the question and then start to read the responses on the side.
What is intuition? Continue. Intuition is nonsense. We are born with it. However, we are not taught to use it, which may cause the muscle to atrophy. It expresses itself differently in people. However, intuitive gifts can be passed down. It is like a muscle. However, like our physical muscles, it can be strengthened or weakened. It can be activated, enhanced, supported by tools. However, the tools do not control it. You do.
So going back to, well, I'm open, Brandon, to whatever you want to do with this slide. But it just, the last one just reminded me of what we were talking about earlier in reference to the crystals. So let's not forget the crystals. The last statement is like, the crystals are the tool and we're the activator of it. But any other space that you want to go in reference to this slide?
No, I think the that first point about the muscle to atrophy was that kind of hit me because, like you said, we're not taught to use our intuition, but we all have an intuition. And some of us have even been taught that the intuition is some outside voice that's guiding us to do some spooky whatever or another. I just appreciate the fact that it's really as simple as it is, and we're able to learn about it, we're able to develop it, but it doesn't have to be as complicated as people have made it out to be. And it can be enhanced, and like the tools, that's really what I appreciate about these tools, is that the tools are not mandatory, the tools don't control it, but the tools can enhance what it is that we do. Like the amethyst stone, for example, with how it amplifies the third eye and amplifies the wisdom centers. And so just looking at how, if I want to open up my third eye center, I just meditate with my amethyst and have the intention that I want to open up that faculty or those psychic faculties. You know, I do have the tools to be able to enhance what's naturally already in me or innately in me.
Yeah, you know, just speaking about the simplicity of some tools, like the simplicity of using the lyrics of a song and being able to get a message from that. And that's all you. And that I love doing this. I do this in corporate spaces. I don't call it intuition. And I don't call it a spiritual tool, but in corporate spaces, I'll have folks pick, and I'll say intuitively, I do actually say intuitively, but they don't process it like we're talking about now. And one of the things, the tricks to it, because I do a lot of anti-racist training, is you can't say, I selected this for you. You intuitively selected it. And now you get an opportunity to unpack why this particular concept, word, posture has been attracted to you. And we utilize that, and they don't even know that they're working the muscle of their intuition by doing that or getting what they absolutely need. I love doing this because you can't dispute and argue with me about something you selected intuitively. It's like, and then some people are like, oh, it's random, it's this. I'm like, call it what you will, but you're gonna get what you need to get up in here, especially working with me. So yeah, so thank you, Brandon, for what you just shared. And Chantel, if you could put the slide back up, I just want to make sure that the community, if there's something to be said about Chantel messing with Quasi about stop lying. Leave him alone, girl.
He said the amethyst said that to him, and I said it just came back full circle.
I just saw stop lying. I was like, what did Chantel?
That's
She
what he
right.
got.
She right.
The amethyst was like, enough is enough, damn it.
So I can say this to Quasi real quick.
Sure.
So Quasi, amethyst, it comes from this word, a meaning no, matisse meaning where we get methamphetamines. So it really talks about sober thinking or clear thinking.
Wow.
And so the amethyst, it wasn't holding you accountable. The amethyst was trying to empower you to think more clearly.
Not sure.
I agree. I was trying to get high though. That's what I'm saying. I was like,
I know. I didn't want to say that.
Sniffing amethyst?
We're in the same boat some days, you know, it's all good, brother.
Lord have mercy. All right. So anybody else comments? We have room for at least one more before we move on to the next slides, because it's 8:26. I think we're gonna need like maybe 15 more minutes. So anyone else comments about this particular piece, this slide or the slide before? And admin, let me know, because if there are none, we can move right along.
Can I say something, please?
That Veronica?
Shawnee, this Veronica. I am in Atlanta, right? And yesterday, I told my girlfriend, I said, we're going to the spa. And it said that the spa was open 24 hours. And I said, well, let's go spend the night at the spa. And it was intuitive that we got there and we literally spent the night at the spa. And they had pillows and blankets for us to lay on the floor. And that not only there were every type of nation laying on that floor this morning. There were Black people, there were Chinese people, there was Korean, there was everything. And we had nothing. We left with not a pillow, not a cover, not a blanket, not a bathing suit, but our intuition. That everything was going to be well. And it struck me that when you told me to read, and you said intuition is nonsense.
Yeah.
It is nonsense that I walked out of her house and we drove for an hour and got to a spa and were full. Because it didn't make sense when we left, how we left.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's such a powerful feeling.
Yeah, it is. And it's happened to me so many times.
Yes.
And later on in this community, I'll share something that happened the other day that was like mind blowing. I don't know what I'm going to do in reference to what was offered to me, but when I tell you, because I move out of the way and it's like, okay, let spirit do what it's going to do. The way in which certain things have materialized, it's like, whoa. But we have attachment to it looking a certain way. It's like, this is the way the system works, so this is how it's supposed to be. And spirit be like, okay, if you want to do it the hard way and go through those channels, I'm trying to take you from doing 10 steps to doing 3 steps. But if you want to do the 10 steps, go ahead, Veronica. Go ahead, Shawnee. Go ahead, Brandon. Do the 10 steps. But I'm telling you, I can leap you over from step 3 to step 10, and you get exactly what you want with less money spent, less time spent, less, energy expended. It's so powerful and possible, but we need to get out of our own way and trust that we are covered, because I am not alone.
It costs $20 for 24 hours.
Amazing. And like you said, nonsense. That's why I use the word. It's nonsensical, some of this stuff. But if you're attached to things being logical, which we're taught to be in this world, you can miss so many opportunities, because it's like, this doesn't make sense to me, so therefore I can't move in this direction. Like, fucking making sense. Like, yo, get what you need to get. And I mean, within of course, safety and all this other stuff, but embrace the nonsense. It pays. And then trust your sensibility to your senses. I'll go into the slide about the types of spiritual gifts, so we can go there next, Chantel. The clairs, because we're talking about clearing, being clear and crystal clear. Like, the clairs are clear intuition, clear vision, clear pathway. And we're going to show you that. And then we can start to wrap up. I just want to make sure that we talk about these pieces. And Brandon, before we leave, let's talk about what can potentially block our ability to tap in. So we can't even use the crystals and be crystal clear because of things that get in the way of us being able to produce and connect with spirit on a deeper level, and the ancestors and all the other ways in which we get spoken to nature in this world. So Chantel, you ready with the Claire list? I think it may be in yellow. No, maybe not. In white and red.
Yeah. And Brandon wanted to address the intuition question.
Oh,
from
yes,
Facebook.
please.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Sorry about that.
Yes, we have a question that came in from Facebook. Is the source of intuition the same source as what some may call discernment? So for me, I think that there's a thin line that differentiates the two. With the intuition, it's almost like an immediate knowing, whereas the discernment, it's almost like a development of being able to decipher between maybe two or more bits of information or 2 or more facts that may be in front of you. So if I may get, here's the best example I can give is sometimes when I'm working with a person intuitively, there could be, say, 3 or 4 messages that come in. One of those messages may be directly for that person. Another one of those messages may be for a person that's connected to that person, or another message could be from just somewhere floating around in the ethers, and I just so happen to pick it up. So I've got these 3 bits of information here in front of me. Intuitively, I know that all this information is from spirit, but now I have to discern which one of these messages is for the person or is going to be best delivered, or even how I deliver it in that moment. So the intuition for me is something that we all naturally have. It comes with us. It's like it's part of the package deal. The discernment is what is how we develop it, and what we have to develop in order to be able to like naturally trust our intuition.
Ashe. I'll add on too that I had to learn, and I'm still learning, when it's for me to share the information with people, or it's just information for me, like to know, like, because I do a lot of coaching, it's like, pay attention to this. It doesn't mean I'll be like, oh, Gina, blah, 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 whatever the information is that's coming through. Sometimes they're just telling me, for Gina, pay attention to this. And I have to discern whether it's time for me to speak to Gina directly about it, or just hold the information or utilize the information when I'm imparting coaching, counseling, or doing a reading, whatever it might be. And I haven't always been able to do that. And sometimes I leak the information and it creates disturbance in the space. So, it's a learning. My ego-based self will sometimes take center stage and take over and create chaos. So thank you for that share about discernment. The question about discernment, that's a powerful share. So these are just some types of spiritual and intuitive gifts. What I have on this list, and I would love for us to read. So Brandon, if you can read clairsentience, I need a reader for clairvoyance. I need a reader for clairaudience and a reader for claircognizance. So let us know who's willing to read, and clairsentience, if you could read that.
Sure. Clairsentience is the ability to receive intuitive messages via feelings, emotions, or physical sensations. Empathy, feeling the emotions of others, is also a form of clairsentience. You may feel other people's hurts, joys, and even physical conditions such as headaches and illnesses. Other common terms for clairsentience are empath, spiritual, or intuitive empath.
All right, awesome. So I one of my gifts is clairsentience, and I've been like this since I was a child. And because I wasn't taught about it, I would often absorb other people's stuff, especially growing up in a household where there was mental health issues and a lot of rage and just different things happening. I would be absorbing these pieces inside of myself and sometimes acting out angrily or feeling very depressed. It was a lot to navigate. And so if you are someone who has clairsentience, please drop that in the chat. You're empathic, you absorb the feelings or emotions, or you want to inquire about it because you're wondering if you have that. And people are like, oh my God, you're just so sensitive. You're so, emotional. And sometimes that's just the data or the feedback about you being an empath or clairsentient person that can be supported with developing the gift so you're not bombarded with people's energy. Like I will do sessions and absorb, and I have to release, take spiritual baths. I have to be in here burning my sage and putting a bubble around myself so that I don't absorb, so I can actually teach and not be taken out by it. But some of y'all know this, that if I'm in a space and I'm using my body with intention, I'll be like, I feel this in my belly. Who is this? Or I have a headache, or I'm like, somebody's angry because I feel the heat on my neck. And that's my indication that I'm triggered and I'm angry. So you can learn to work this in a really powerful way so that you can have quality of life, like really powerful quality of life, and then navigate spaces and know where to stick and stay and where to leave. Anything that you want to say about this, Brandon, before we move forward?
No, I was just going to ditto to everything you said. There have been times where I've been doing facilitation and I've like felt something pricking me in my back, and I know my stuff, and I'm like, nah, I didn't have this pain earlier today.
Exactly.
That ain't mine, Or as a matter of fact, there was a session we were doing with I started getting this pain in my shoulder, and I said, now whose shoulder is hurting? And I think it was somebody, and they were like, oh, that's me. I said, well, take it back. I don't want it.
Hey, yes, not mine. Not ours. Thank you. So if you're clairsentient and you know it, or you're wondering about it, drop it in the chat, family. Who's willing to read clairvoyance? This is one we hear about a lot.
I'll read.
Thank you, beloved.
Clairvoyance is the inner seeing. This ability to see images that come into our minds. These pictures come as flashes of information. Some people see these images with their eyes closed or even open. Other common terms for clairvoyance are third eye, the third eye, or sight.
Yeah. Brandon, you can tell me whether you have this. This comes to me in a very spotty way. And I have to be really, like, my body has to be clean. And what I mean by that is that, like, what I'm eating, like my vibration has to be high in order for the clairvoyant messages to come through. I remember I was in a training. I do psychodrama training. And whenever I'm in that space, there's all kinds of things that happen with me. It just opens up a gateway, and I'm more likely to channel and do other things in that space with the folks that are there. And it pisses me off because usually the majority of the people in those spaces are white and they're older. And I'm like, I want to do this with my own people. But that's just the way it goes. And I remember I was with a woman who I'm very close to, and I kept seeing a flash of a nurse's hat. And I forget what the other image was. And I'm like, what is this? And Spirit was giving me a message to her about her aunt that was a nurse who had died. And I was like speaking to like her physical being, meaning that my friend. So I'm like, what is this? But, just surrendering to it. And I allowed myself to trust it, because I can get scared sometimes. I'm like, I'm going to say this, and the person is going to be like, I don't know what the F you're talking about. that's not for me. And sometimes they don't figure it out until later that the message was for them, but I get attached to them getting it right away. But yeah, I definitely have clairvoyance, but it's a muscle that I have to build, and I have to have certain conditions for it to flow with ease. So what about you, Brandon?
Yeah, same here. For me, it depends on the state that I'm in. And then there's also a differentiation for the types of clairvoyance. There's a higher clairvoyance and a lower clairvoyance. So I've had times where, like in New York City, I've been on the train seeing just dark, fat, shadowy figures, people's faces, almost like it changes for a split second. It looks like there's a demon or something in the face. And so I'm like, what is that? And then as I've studied clairvoyance, I understood that that was a lower aspect of the clairvoyance. And sometimes like if our aura isn't clean, when we have this ability to see, we could be seeing things through our aura, through our experiences. So
Yeah.
those would be some of the lower vibrational energies that's in our aura. So like you said, having ourselves clean, both physically, energetically, spiritually, all of that, it does help us to be able to see into the inner worlds a lot easier. For me, I get it in flashes. There are days where like the flash is actually like a TV screen that stays on, and I'm able to see it. The best time where clairvoyance is operative for me is actually when I'm preparing to preach. When I'm reading through a passage of scripture, in my mind, I can literally see it like a movie screen playing across. And so when I'm writing the sermon, I'm literally just writing down the details that I see. And it's like, okay, so that's what it was. And then I can go into like my other researches and stuff. But it comes in flash. And out of all of the gifts, this is the one that I have to work at the most to be able to develop, so I can have like a conscious awareness of it.
Yeah, I don't know if this is pure clairvoyance, but I was making reference to my sister and I and my aunts, the three of us sleeping in a bed in our grandparents' home. Well, my aunt, it was her parents, me and my sister, our grandparents, and all three of us waking up at the exact same time in the middle of the night, and then seeing an image of a spirit outside of the door of the room we were sleeping in. And I remember laying in the bed, and I'm like, I don't want to wake up. I don't want to wake up. I don't want to wake up. It was like a lucid dream that became reality. And then they were up too. And I'm like, let's say it was 3 o'clock in the morning. We were like dead sleep, and all of us were summoned out of our sleep at the same time and saw the same image. I don't know if my sister remembers. And then we started screaming.
Yes, I remember. I remember it very clearly. Yeah, so we was all in it together. So I remember very clearly.
Yeah.
I think about it all the time, and we's connected. Me, you, and Pat was connected.
Exactly. And the other thing that I said, it was on a slide earlier about how these gifts are passed down, just like our nose shape and eye color. Like whole families can have the same gifts. And in my family, the women specifically are very intuitive, very spiritually gifted. And I also will say that there's a fine line between these gifts manifesting themselves and having mental health and emotional challenges. So if you don't take care of yourself, it can slip into mental illness because we haven't been taught. It's like you can start questioning. And then I would say the case with my mother, I believe that my mother started to self-medicate because she was so intuitive and emotional and empathic, and nobody was teaching her. They were just calling her crazy and over the top. So just keeping these in mind, if you're clairvoyant or you believe that there's some fertilizer for that in you, drop that in the chat, please.
One thing I think is also important is that on that the vein of mental health is that it's important for us as a people, especially when you are aware that you have these gifts, to understand that society, especially medical institutions and mental health institutions, they won't always understand our gifts from the way that we understand it. So what they would label clairvoyance would be more like hallucinations.
Yeah.
Things along those lines. And so it is important to be able to maintain like a good mental health state, because if you're not in let's say a good mental health state and you see an angel, most people think of an angel as this pretty being like flying around all nice and pretty. No, them motherfuckers are huge. Like, they're about 8-9 feet sometimes, and those are small angels. When you talk about seeing a being standing in your living room that's 24 feet tall, them like, hey, good evening, how are you? Like, wait, what up, brother? my ceiling ain't this big. How'd you fit me here? So it is important to make sure that you're keeping like good mental health practices. If like I've had people who call me and like, yo, man, I think I'm slipping. I'm like, all right, well, let's talk about it. What's going on? So just be able to have that network of people that you can reach out to. When I started having these dreams, like clairvoyance and clairaudience, I didn't have a person to kind of mentor me and show me this is how you should do it. This is what's happening. They would just say, oh, this is a young prophet. There's a word from the Lord. I was a church kid. That's all I knew. But I didn't understand what was happening on deeper levels. And so when I finally was able to have a teacher or a mentor that was able to kind of explain what was happening on different levels, then I wasn't as afraid. I wasn't as nervous. I wouldn't be, wondering like, all right, if I'm hanging out with my friends, am I going to get a message for this person, or am I going to see something? Like that stuff stopped bothering me after a while. But initially, being able to have like that support system or some kind of person that, or even if it's books that you go to, I read a lot of Alice Bailey books and things like that. So just being able to have somewhere where you can maintain that mental balance is very important.
Ashe, yes. And as someone who's a clinician, one of the things that I've been able to pride myself on, especially when I worked in systems, is countering the narrative about mental illness as it relates to Black people who are spiritual. I remember a client came in and they were being assessed by one of the staff that was working under me when I had a drug treatment program that I was leading. And he was doing, the white man, the staff person was doing the assessment on a Black woman. And she was talking about how, like speaking in tongues, or how she was indwelled by spirit, how, what do they call it? Shoot, catching the Holy Ghost and, getting messages and stuff like that. And he immediately went there and came in, I'm providing supervision and he's talking about what she's saying and trying to diagnose. And I had to check him about the Black experience, the Black church experience. It's like, no, this is actually a strength that she has. And if we can utilize her spiritual strength and her connection to God to support her, because it was a drug treatment program, then we may be able to support her in being able to bridge from the space of being like succumbing to her addictive patterns to actually using spirit and God in that relationship to stay clean and sober another day and keep carrying on. But this happens to us all the time. And if there's nobody there to interpret and decipher what's actually going on with that person culturally, spiritually, emotionally, like I always bring that into the mix. And I ask people if they have spiritual gifts. I'm like very direct about that and we celebrate it. But if you don't know to do that, then you're labeling and pathologizing something that is actually a major strength for people and a conduit for healing. So thank you. Who wants to read clairaudience? We have these two left before we start to
I
shift.
do.
I'll do it.
All right. All right.
Lola.
Fire.
Wait. I want to do it.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Somebody go ahead, Jim.
Okay, clairaudience is the way of receiving intuitive messages without using the physical ears. Think of clairaudience as the inner hearing. You may hear sounds, words, sentences, thoughts, tones, music, and other types of sounds or noises that come into your head. Or there's a cutoff here.
It's a cutoff, but we got enough. And sorry about that. I didn't notice it. This is one of my major gifts.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm a word person.
I want to talk about this one.
Oh, great. We'll talk about it.
Okay, as a poet, this is kind of like genuinely how I operate in the world, because I have, like, I'll say an important thing or I'll write an important thing and then I'll need to like sleep for 16 hours. And this is how I know, like, oh, the work is being done. It's genuinely terrifying sometimes, but also music and conversations. Like, I, as an air sign, am a loquacious person, but I'm also genuinely curious. And I feel like the claircognizance and the clairaudience are working the strongest in my life. The other two need to be like more developed, but watching TV, I know exactly what's going to be said next, like reading books. I think that's why I'm insatiable in these tasks, because I'm genuinely curious. Like, what is the next thing that is going to help me further on this journey?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So this, as I said, is like the biggest, and it makes perfect sense. And this is something that I teach too. I don't have to do this workshop. Brandon, you and I can do it together if you're down. The pathway to recognizing what your spiritual gifts are or can potentially be is like how you show up in the world and your learning styles. Like I'm a singer, a poet, a writer. Like it makes total sense that clairaudience is a big muscle. Like I have Popeye muscle when it comes to this particular spiritual gift, because sounds and words, they live inside of me and come out of me as a, I don't know, sometimes I'm speaking, and as I speak, I'm reading. I don't know how else to share it. So when I'm being interviewed or when I'm speaking in this space, the words just flow out and it's a reading for people. But if I don't name it, you may not necessarily know. You just get a sensation around what I'm saying. And sometimes I'm like, yo, it wasn't even that deep what I'm saying. People are like, oh my God. I'm like, because it's the energy. It's not necessarily the words. The words may not be so eloquent, but I'm channeling it through and people are receiving what they need to receive in the airspace. And that's so powerful. And I didn't know that this was a gift, spiritual gift. I just thought, I'm a smart girl. I love to read. But this has always been, and I'm just grateful that I'm aware of it. And when I go and take stage, I'm like, spirit, take over. Let me use the words that are inside of me to just bring the message. And it's amazing. And I'll go back and listen. I'm like, oh my God, I said that. So I get you, Artorius. I definitely get you. And keep it up. Brandon, anything you want to say about this?
It's probably one of my favorite gifts. For me, it flows naturally. I've just always had a sense of hearing. As a musician, I'll hear songs, and as I'm listening to the songs, it's almost like I can see the band playing. So I could see the piano, I can see the notes that are being played. I'm not sure if I'm the only one that does this, but when I listen to music, I actually don't hear the singing. I don't hear the voices. It's like my ears filters out the voices, and I can hear every single instrument. It doesn't matter how many instruments there are. I can hear every single one. My choir used to hate me because I'd be there like somebody in the back row, third section in the alto, about the fourth or fifth person over. Yeah, half note flat. And they're like, how did he know that was me? So, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. And when just as a singer, being in choirs, sometimes like leading songs and stuff like that, I have a huge sensitivity to how sound lands too. So the hair on the back of my neck would go up like when something is off. It is wild, but I get it. We definitely need to talk about that. And the other thing that was said that I thought of when Sahu Speak was sharing, I want to say my clairaudience comes through in my own voice. Like some people, like I heard the voice of my grandmother. The voice of my grandmother can come through, but it comes through sounding like me. So I have to weed through it. It's like, is this me? Is this me? But sometimes I can feel the energy when it's different. I don't know how else to explain it, y'all, but voices of the energy and the messages that I receive from outside of myself show up in my voice. I've only experienced a few times. One is with my daughter, Shawnee, where the actual voice of the person comes through. And your gifts can evolve. It can shift and change. It's the same gift, but they can evolve. So I'm like, oh, maybe this is going to start happening more. And something else I was going to say, clairaudience comes to me through ear hustling too. I can sit on the train and just be chilling and somebody is talking over there about something and it's a message for me. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like I'm being nosy, minding someone else's business, but spirit is like, tune in, because this is something you need to know. So just wanted y'all to hear like the various ways in which this particular gift can come through. And we're almost done. We're almost done. Who has the next one? If you have clairaudience. All right, thank you. Please put it in the chat if you have clairaudience or you believe that this is something that's a possibility for you. Go ahead, Me.
Oh, just call me Claire because I'm all of the things. Clear cognizance, clear knowing. Clear cognizance is the ability to just know something without logic or facts. It may help to think of it as an inner knowing.
Awesome. So Brandon, anything about this?
Yeah, this is actually probably one of all the gifts that I made like the least. Because this is in my earlier years, it comes across as a know-it-all kind of energy. Like I just know this isn't because I didn't have that understanding. Like, how does this know it? Like, and that knowing got me in trouble because like I just knew stuff was gonna happen. They're like, well, how you know? There's no way you can know that. And then you find yourself like having to defend what it is that you know, but you can't explain how you know it. Um, and then I've seen that this gift, it can be misunderstood, especially with like pride and ego. If those two aspects aren't really developed and with those, even those parts of our characteristics aren't really developed, it can lead us to some places to say almost like this is what I want to do and this is what I'm going to do. I have this knowing that I should do it, but knowing full well that spirit is leading you in a different direction. Like, so I had a client who said, you know what? I know for a fact that I'm supposed to go apply to this job. I'm supposed to move into this apartment and I'm supposed to be with this person. And 2 months later, they called me back, says, you know what, you were right. This job, I hate it. This apartment is terrible. And the man sleeps with a gun next to his bed. Like, what the hell did I sign up for?
Right.
It's like, but you said you knew. So, you know, there is a point having that discernment and that knowing, but clear cognizance, if you're not really in the right space and the right frame, it can lead you to some interesting discoveries.
I will share, it comes through for me in different ways. This is not, once again, the strongest one that I have, but I have to consider this, but clear cognizance comes through me by way of what I create in structures, like with the facilitators training or the curriculum that I designed for Be the Tree. Spirit just drops stuff in. I'll sometimes craft something and not know that there's a theory associated with it. I'll find that out later. And, you know, I'll be doing it. I'm like, I've been doing that. And then discover that there's a whole theory and framework for it. I remember several years ago, I wanted to create something. I was like, oh, I want to design something around storytelling. I'm going to do narrative therapy. And then I discovered that narrative therapy actually already existed in the world. I had no idea. So that sort of thing. And then I just realized through your talking that I have clear cognizance around people and their circumstances. I would call it something else like clairvoyance, and I'm like, oh, like I'm able to read and experience people and their energy and their life. I don't know if that's clear cognizance, but it just comes through me. Hold on, somebody just rang my bell. Keep speaking, Brandon.
Okay. Yeah, but I was saying with the clear cognizance, and I also will hear from some other voices in the space. It can lead you just on this sense of knowing. But let's say if you're not clear, you know, because remember that's what we're talking about, being crystal clear within yourself, within your knowing, especially if we're talking about chakras here. Knowing deals with the forehead, the ajna, the crown, the heart to a degree. If those centers are blocked, or those areas of our aura are, say, clouded, for lack of better words, then sometimes that knowing comes with a cloudedness. And so we might be in the right direction, but we may not be in the right place. You know, we might be in the right neighborhood, but on the wrong street. All right. So let's hear from some voices in the crowd. Chantel, you want to help navigate us through that part there?
Let's see. Oh, and Shawnee's back.
Sorry, it was the gas company.
Oh, yes, we need that.
Important.
Let's see. What is it?
See, so Hootsuite had her hand up.
Yeah, let's hear from Sunspeed. Let's call someone.
Great. Greetings, everyone. Yes, I'm loving this conversation. So I'm glad you called me because I don't want to get too far because everything is moving so fast. So I wanted to speak about the clairaudience because you were on that, and then the cognizance. So me and my goddaughter's daughter, she cries a lot, right? She's 7, and she was just diagnosed with what is that? I have that. You see this everything backwards, the letters backwards and stuff like that. Yeah, dyslexia, right? She was just with that. It was like, how come she's so brilliant, but how come she can't read? So we found that out. But then also it's emotion. She cries a lot. Like her feelings are like right. You talking about on your skin? Her feelings are like right there, and it's just hitting me like, okay, yeah, I was going to do some emotional freedom tapping with her, but I'm like, okay, but I need to actually work with her on another level to see if this is, if she's hearing and feeling every single thing. So this is like so great. Just such a great discussion. And the other thing that I wanted to say was, in terms of the Claire audience, I think it is, my mother could take a test, never study, and pass every single thing. I used to say, Mom, how do you do that? And she was like, I don't even know. I never study, never. But she passed all the tests, and I'm the other way. Okay, I got to take a test 3 times, right? 4 times to kind of get through all the pieces, right? Because I'm somewhere else, and it's like, get back to the paper. But it's just people, everyone's different, but just seeing like how we're built and then really doing something with that, and finding people to really help you to nurture and guide that intelligence that you have, to me is really key. My dad is photogenic. What does that come in with the Claire stuff? You can see, you can look at a book. Is that one of the Claires? You can look at a book.
I think about this a lot. I alluded to it earlier, and then Brandon may have his share. I feel like your learning style, like how you process information, is a great place to start to determine what your spiritual gifts are. Like my dominant learning styles are auditory and visual. So when you were speaking about the test with your mother, I'm like, it's a blend for me. Like she may have heard the information, had had an auditory style of learning. She may also have clear audience too, and just like is able to get support spiritually to like remember some of the material. So it's like the two things working in hand in hand. I said earlier that we miss out because we don't blend spiritual gift with intellectual capacity and emotional intelligence. That blend can help you do better in school, navigate relationships more powerfully, but we're taught to separate them out, and we miss out because we do that. So I would imagine 2 things were going on with your mother. Maybe she was in class or got the material, or spirit is whispering. It's like, pick this answer. This is the way to go. But, she's not here necessarily to unpack that with her, but it's a consideration for those of us who are here and are curious about our strengths and how we can navigate the world and make life less chaotic and less and easier for us to navigate. So those things are things to consider. Brandon,
thank you so much.
Thank you, Paula.
I was just going to speak to the photogenic memory piece. For me, that vibrates more along with a clairvoyant kind of energy. People who are able to see things clearly in their mind's eye, or just see things once and they're able to recall that image clearly. That does resonate with the clairvoyance.
Yes, Ashe.
I just want to add this. So for instance, like he was a master chess player, right? So he could see 10 moves ahead. He could do like all of that kind of stuff. So thank you guys. This is brilliant.
Yeah. And you said it in your explanation. You can see it.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Got it. Thank you.
Right. Awesome. All right, man, we'll be here all morning, all day. So we covered all of the Claires. I wanted to close out by sharing about blockers. So you could start us off. What blocks our ability to even use the crystals, to use the cards, the tools, like whatever it is that we're using, the prayers from happening? And, I had some, we don't have to put up the slide, like we could just volley back and forth. Like, what do you believe some of the blockers are for us that keeps us from being able to tap in, Brandon?
I think one of the main blockers is fear of the unknown.
Yes.
Other than fear, there's the programming of what other people have said, or the societal conditioning. Secondly, thirdly, I think that it comes down to our belief system. Sometimes our belief systems may not empower us to try different things. So our belief system may tell us that, this is what has always been done. And since it's always been done, it blocks off the possibilities of trying something different, or trying something or trying something different. I try to make sure that I don't use the word better, because it implies that one is not as good as the other. So I just want to give people the opportunity to look at different options to see that one line of thought is not the only line of thought. Life is cyclical, so that means it goes around in a circle, and anything that goes around in a circle, it gives it an entry point at any particular direction. So there's no particular path that you have to come in. So be able to get in where you fit in but just try it, be open. Sometimes, you know, we're not open. We've been told, you know, like the palmistry, tarot, astrology, all these things are demonic, like you said, you know. But then we got to work on defining what does that word demonic even mean, you know, who you know, so that's really where it gets into levels. But I think really it's fear, it's limiting beliefs. So, and then final thing I would say is that it's also comfort in being where you are.
Yeah.
Sometimes
complacency.
Yeah, sometimes if I heal and I've built an association with me being in this condition, when I come out of this condition, who am I?
Yeah.
If I don't have this as the crutch, if I can't talk about my problems, then what am I going to talk about, or who am I without these issues? So I think for me, those are like the blockers.
Yeah. You know, I'll share that toxic people, places, and things, you know, in my lifetime when I've surrounded myself by that, or been in even intimate partnership, letting that person infect me with their energy, whether it was through intimacy or just them being in my airspace, or friends or people with low vibrational. I'm clear, sentient, and I'm also have clear audience. So if I'm around people who are saying low vibrational things all the time, or in a space of anger, rage, upset, sadness, jealousy, I absorb it, you know. And so it's really, really important for us not to be in spaces that are going to rob us of our essence. Exhaustion and sleep deprivation can block gifts or your ability to be a conduit for crystals and other tools to work. Unhealthy diet, I'm experiencing that right now, that I don't see as clearly in reference to the clairs, because I'm not eating clean. And it's like night and day. Like as soon as I shift, they're like, okay, you ready for us for real, for real? And when I'm eating sugar and other things, they're like, we can't mess with her because she's toxic. You know, dismissing spiritual experiences and thinking something is like random or coincidental when it's really a metaphysical experience, or it's part of your intuitive messaging. Ego-based thinking and doing, you know, we've been taught how to operate from ego, and you can have spiritual gifts and then you can turn them upside down and block them because you're using them for gain. I'll say this last thing, mental health issues too can get in the way. One of the things that I was going to say about one of my teachers, one of the most powerful teachers I ever had, I mean, she could read crystals. She could tell you about your past life experiences. She could do like meta, like physical things, like read your physical body. Dope. And she was an opportunist and would like she could read who you were. So she would utilize that information to tap in so she could benefit from, like get financial gain from being connected to you, especially if she could see great things happening and attach herself to you. And it was just so sad. I'm like, this person has been given like 20 gifts. And what was blocking them is she could never fully keep a relationship, and her money game was always off because she was she had an ulterior motive behind the giving and the sharing of the gifts. And you can get money from it, like exchange and stuff, but hers was on the next level. So I just want to put that out there to y'all. Like we're so masterful. We're so powerful. Please keep researching. You don't have to take Brandon and my word for it. Just what does your spirit tell you right now? And move in that direction and trust that if you operate like a feather rather than a stone, like spirit will take you exactly where you need to go and show you exactly what you need to see for this time in your life. So brother.
Oh, wow. Family, yo, just give us like a virtual hand, Coach Shawnee, like Reverend B. This was, y'all don't even know, like I've got the goosebumps right now. Like, we definitely didn't expect it to be this long. Thank you for hanging with us.
Right.
But Coach Shawnee, what you said, it was just so powerful. I think as we learn how to embrace who we are, and that's really where it starts. Embrace who we are, not necessarily with this sense of like competition, but embrace who we are, and then realize that there's all of these things are tools, but the ultimate decision about our transformation, our ascension, our development it's going to come with through our experiences that we go through the enlightening that we receive, and through making that decision that, you know what, enough is enough. Today is the day. Or let me at least reach out to get that help. Trusting in yourself. That's the main thing. Also, trust yourself.
Okay.
A lot of us have been taught not to trust ourselves, and so it's in that trusting of ourselves that we're able to achieve what was the purpose of our conversation, getting crystal clear. That's really what our main goal is to be able to empower people to get crystal clear in whatever way. You know, my way is not the only way. The Holy Master Diwal Kul said, don't accept things blindly just because someone said it. Do your research and, you know,
yes,
an evaluation. So family, thank you all for giving us your time this morning. This has been more fire.
Awesome. Thank you, bro. Yeah, so we're ready for the closing slides. Y'all hang with us. Don't be jumping off like there's opportunities to give. And then Coach, I'm calling you Coach Brandon because you that too, Reverend Brandon, Coach Brandon. I would love to talk about reactivating a workshop that I do around harnessing your spiritual gifts, discovering them and how to utilize them. Sounds like a series is brewing.
Please, yes.
Absolutely.
Please, yes.
It's going to be a series.
Yes.
So for those of you who hung out with us, we have initially, like I said, Coach Cheryl and I, we were putting this together, and so we talked about our offer. I'm going to reach out to Coach Cheryl just to make sure that we can still do this with the essential oils.
Yeah.
Essentially, what we're going to do is for the first two participants to email us. We're going to pick a number. Sorry. We're going to have two people. You're going to send us your first and last name, your birthday, and if you know your sun, moon, and rising sign, give us that information. And what Coach Cheryl is going to do is actually create an essential oil blend that goes with your zodiac sign. And then I'm actually going to gift you a crystal with that is associated with your number. So when I give you the crystals, because I know we just talked about, don't receive crystals from everyone else. I promise you, I'm going to clean your crystals. I'm going to energize it. And then after that, I wrap it in silk. That's the key right there. I learned it the hard way. Once you've cleaned and energized a crystal, wrap it in silk. And what that does is that protects it from any other energy around it until it makes it to its final destination. So we're going to give you that. And then I would also encourage you, once you get your crystal, to clean it yourself. You know, you could use your sage, incense, Palo Santo, brown rice. You know, there's a number of different methods that you can use to clean crystals. You can also reach out to me just, if you got any questions to see what are things that you could do. There are some crystals that shouldn't be put in salt or water. So, definitely do your research. But do we have the two numbers for the persons that we're going to pick for this offer?
There were numbers picked earlier.
I don't think was there.
Oh, so let's go for it. 17. Okay. Two numbers and 28.
Oh, 17 and 28. I guess our admins will go ahead.
All right. So we got Theodora.
I accept.
She ain't playing. She's like, I'm in it.
All right. And then Southspeed.
Yay!
Yes, congratulations.
Wow.
Do you accept? Do you accept?
Yeah, please accept.
You got me? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. You earned it today.
Yes.
Oh, shoot.
Are you saying yes?
Right, that's a yes.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, shoot.
Okay.
All right. Damn.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Oh, the energy is it high vibrational?
All right, thank you.
Oh my God.
All right. Congratulations.
You can send us your name, birthday, and if you know your sun, moon, and rising sign. If not, just your sun sign will be fine, and we'll be able to put that package together.
Awesome. All right. here's my information. Anyone who wants to be in touch, even if it's to harass me so that we do the series, please do, because there's a lot going on over here. But this is my contact information. Most of y'all have it anyway.
Now, I'm gonna come with the same energy as Shawnee. Y'all got my contact information. Yeah, but definitely make sure that you reach out to us if you have questions. This is something I enjoy doing. And then yes, please keep us in mind, you know, on top of that for that series, because I think this is going to be enlightening and exciting for the next couple of weeks.
Ashe. Love offerings. So y'all, we gave you a masterclass up in here. And so just offering you an opportunity to give the energy back. And we talked about the spiritual exchange and the reciprocity. The tool was us today for you to be able to tap in, and y'all leaned in. So now's an opportunity to give back what has been so graciously given to you. So just asking for love offerings, donations, utilizing Zelle, QuickPay, or Cash App. Zelle, you can use the email address soulleadershipdevelopment@gmail.com. For Cash Apps, $ Spirit of a Woman, and the code. Look at our code. Wait a minute, is that me? It's SB 603 SBGBS. 603 SBGBS. So that's Shawnee Benton Gibson and Brandon Smith, 603. So make sure that you make that reference. And give. If you haven't given, I always say this, like, activate it. If you haven't given yet and be the tree, Lord, and wake up everybody, try it on today. We down to be the first facilitators that you give to. Then there's an automated opportunity to give monthly. And these are the links for it. And you can just put it in, set it, and then it'll keep generating month after month until you decide that you're complete. But it's a way to give and just have it in there as part of your experience of wake up, and you're receiving the nourishment and the growth and development materials every day, or at least 5 days out of the week. We give a lot up in here. So just inviting you to give back. Complete. Brandon, you want to announce who's up next?
Yes, tomorrow, if you have not experienced pranic healing or energy medicine, energy healing from Kadeem, you do not want to miss tomorrow. Kadeem was one of the first healers that I met when I became a healer. He is absolutely phenomenal. So tomorrow morning, definitely join in with Kadeem, and then come back on Thursday with Martine Malivers. She is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I've gone back and watched all of her presentations for two reasons. Number one, she told me to, and I didn't need much else after that. So this is role play part 1A, A Man's World. So definitely come back out tomorrow and Thursday for another great experience.
That sounds like Martine.
Yes.
And also with this session, please invite all of the brothers to this session. This is the part 1A to the part 1 that we had before with the brothers about a man's world. And so yes, Martine is the one who got us started on the 1As and Bs and all that. She has her own series going.
Right.
So keep up with it. Also, so we want to welcome all the newbies into the space. We had like 35 people still here at 9 a.m. That's amazing. So thank you to everyone who invited new people into the space, everyone in our Facebook pages who dropped in through Facebook. Thank you for joining us, and we ask that you register and come back again.
Can I interject one quick second and just welcome my friend Nadej? I'm Andrea Fisher, who last time I wasn't able to officially greet her on, but she's still on this morning, and I just want to embrace the fact that she came back on. So thank you, Nadej, for coming in, and welcome.
Welcome. And thank you for inviting her, Andrea. We appreciate that. And both
You're
of you, please
welcome.
come back.
Okay, no problem.
Great. And then we want you to come back Monday. We want you to come back Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for each of our sessions. We are live in the Zoom space from 7 to 8:30 a.m. Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And then we have Mondays and Wednesdays, which are a little shorter. They're 7 to 7:30, just to give you enough to get your day started. And you can also watch us on Facebook in the morning if you can't hop on Zoom. And it's summertime, so we are out here again, we back outside. So you need your woo swag when you are going to the beach, going to the coffee shop, going to work, camp, whatever you're doing this summer. Grab your water bottles, your tote bags, your laptop cases, and your journal. Get some thoughts out after your woo sessions. So stop by our woo store and get your woo swag. All of the links are being dropped in the chat as well. And again, we want to say thank you and make sure that you stay in touch with us. So we are on, we can register at Wake Up Everybody Movement. And that's each week we'll drop a new lineup and then you'll stay up to date with where we are on the schedule for the week. You can catch us on Facebook in the Woo community, our private group page, and then our public page, which is bit.ly/WooNation. We're also on Instagram. We're dropping a few more videos on YouTube, so you can stay up with us on YouTube. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns for the community, always feel free to reach out to us via email. All right, it's that time. So we are going to unmute everyone and we are going to send our love showers to these two amazing facilitators.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I invited Shawnee and thought it was going to be an hour and a half.
Through the spiritual stuff for someone else.
Look at spirit.
Today, Brandon is
One love. One love. Together. Love y'all.
Everyone, Timothy out here.
Awesome, awesome. Y'all rock, y'all rock.
You are
Beautiful session. Thank you, Shawnee and Brandon and all the Atma team. Y'all are awesome. Yummy. Yummy to my spirit. So yummy.
I love my Woo family.
Love
Thank you,
y'all.
thank you.